where would you see yourself in the Olympia?
This year's Olympia,
Any year.
give my
What's up guys and welcome. You're watching Fazi Fitness. So there is that confirmation by the Empro Classic Spain Pro 2023 champion, Michal Krizo, that he is in fact prepping to defend his title there. Although he hasn't mentioned the name of the show here, but the only show that is coming in roughly 8 weeks time, that is gonna be Empro Classic Spain. So I have to say this is gonna be one of the most exciting shows in this calendar year, because this is a very good lineup. We have Behrouz Tabani, whose attendance has been confirmed at this show. We have Bonac, who is making his comeback after more than 1 year. Andrea Presti, the guy who placed second at this show last year, he's also confirmed. So the chances of Andrea Presti winning that show, that are slim to none. Because unless he does something about his legs, unless he can put on some serious mass on his quads, which I don't think he can, in just a matter of a few months, he's gonna have a really difficult time here. We saw the same thing happen with him at Prague Pro last year, where unexpectedly he wasn't even able to make top 5 at that show. And let me add another name to that list, Jose Manuel, aka Josema Beast, the youngest IB pro in the men's open bodybuilding right now. And if you guys remember, he made his pro debut last year at this show, and he was really impressive. People were really shocked to see his development, especially from the back. He was super impressive last year, especially considering his age. So just add a full improvement season to that physique. I think Jose is gonna be so much more exciting to watch, even though this is a very star-studded lineup. So Josema Beast did multiple shows last year, and his conditioning was really impressive in all of those shows. He just needs more time to have more muscle maturity, more density on his frame, and time he has. Like I mentioned before, he is the youngest IB pro out there. So once he puts on enough density, enough muscle on his frame, he is gonna be so much more dangerous, because this guy really isn't missing anything. He is very complete top to bottom. But all that being said, this is gonna be a difficult show for him, and even if he's able to make top 4 in this lineup, that is gonna be one hell of an achievement. Last year Jose was 4th at the show, but there was neither Bonac here, who is a multiple times Arnold Classic champion, nor there was Behrouz Tabani, who is, we all know, a conditioning freak. So this confirmation by Michal Krizo is definitely gonna make this show a lot more exciting. Now, the outcome of this show looks to be so unpredictable at this point. There are literally 3 guys in there who can win this show. Michal Krizo, Behrouz Tabani, Bonac. Any of these 3 guys can secure the win and also secure their Olympia spot for 2024. But I have to say Michal Krizo might be the favorite going into this show. But these 3 guys haven't stood next to each other before. And yes, I know Bonac was there at the Olympia 2022, and Michal Krizo made his pro debut and he was able to place top 12. But even then, Krizo and Bonac never stood next to each other. So I have to say Bonac is the one who has the most stake here. This will give us a clear picture of where the Conqueror stands in the men's open division right now, specifically in that top 10. Because both Michal Krizo and Behrouz Tabani are top 10 guys. And yes, I know Behrouz hasn't been on the Olympia stage just yet, but I think we can all agree if he was there last year he would have been at least top 10, or maybe even higher than that. And even though I just said that Michal Krizo is the favorite going into that show, but we have to keep in mind, Behrouz Tabani can easily win this show. He held his own really well against a guy like Samson Dauda, and Samson Dauda is a top 3 guy in the world, and that is saying something. So, if Behrouz comes in at his all-time best, the chances of him winning that show are pretty high. The most interesting part is the Italy Pro that is scheduled just 1 week after Spain, and who knows, majority of these guys will most probably go to that show as well, and battle it out once again. Bonac announced that he is doing Portugal Pro, which is after Spain. So Behrouz is in for Italy, and if Michal doesn't win in Spain, he's gonna have no choice but to compete in Italy as well. You have got to earn your Olympia qualification one way or another, and the way these shows are scheduled, and the number of competitors left who have yet to qualify for the Olympia, there will definitely be some names left out this year who won't make it to the Olympia stage, who were there last year.
top 6 this year. I was 8 last year, so this year 6.
I mean, if you can beat a Nick Walker, you're a guaranteed top 6 spot in the Olympia.
Oh yeah.
Next up, we have an update from the mutant Nick Walker at 3.5 weeks out of this year's New York Pro. So this was considered a weak shot for Nick Walker like 2 years ago. Just go back and watch Nick's pictures from 2021 Mr. Olympia, the one where he made his Olympia debut, and he was able to place top 5 at that show. And that was kind of a controversial decision, because he lost to Hunter Labrada at that show, and Hunter was the one who placed 4th at that show. and majority of the bodybuilding community had this opinion that Nick should have placed ahead of Hunter Labrada. So at that show, Nick did not even hit that backlash spread when he came out for his individuals. Now fast forward to 2024, it is no longer a weak shot for him. So Nick has been posting less updates during this prep because he wants to keep an element of surprise and shock the world when he finally walks on that stage. And I have to say, that is gonna happen 1 week prior to the New York Pro, and that is gonna be at the Pittsburgh Pro guest posing. So we will get a pretty good idea of how much improvements Nick Walker has been able to make over the last 1 year. So this is a comeback show for Nick Walker, and honestly speaking, it is probably the easiest one to predict. Because he is a top 3 Olympian, he is gonna outmuscle everyone on that stage. And his conditioning is always spot on. Conditioning wise, he's second to none. I think the only guy who has better conditioning than Nick Walker, that is Tonio Burton. And the only scenario in which Nick Walker loses this show is if he messes up his peak big time and he shows up way off, which is highly unlikely based on the pictures and the videos that we are getting.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident that's exactly how this is gonna go.
Now, let's talk about Tonio Burton and his update. Arguably one of the most aesthetic and one of the most beautiful physique that is gonna be up there at the New York Pro this year. But he himself knows that his chances of beating Nick Walker, they are very little. So Tonio has made it official that he is doing California Pro as well, which is just 1 week after the New York Pro. So what different Tonio could do compared to what we saw at the Olympia Classic South America just a couple of weeks ago. None of us had any complaints about his conditioning at that show. Maybe more separation in the quads. That will make him look way more impressive on the stage. So far, Nick Walker has announced that he is only doing the New York Pro. So all these guys will have a fair shot in Cali Pro. So I have to say Tonio Burton has set his expectations really high for this year's Mr. Olympia. He sees himself in that top 6, which I have to say is very, very unrealistic. Just think about it for a second. We have Derek Lunsford, Tonio Burton, Nick Walker, Samson Dauda, Andrew Jagged, and Big Ramy. Now tell me, out of all these names that I mentioned above, these are 7 guys. Who can Tonio Burton beat? And let's not forget, Hunter Labrada is coming in so big and so freaky this year as well. So do you guys see Tonio beating any of these guys? Especially if all of these guys are at their best. Especially if all of these guys are on. I, for one, do not see that happening.
So, I mean, yeah. So, I mean, when I say top 6, I'm not saying 6. I'm saying anywhere in that top 6.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go into New York thinking, all right, well, so me and Stu are going to battle for second. So, let's use that. I mean, then I already lost. There's no point in doing it.
So, Tonio is relatively a smaller bodybuilder. But on the stage, he doesn't really look small. He will have to make some posing adjustments. And I'm sure he is working on that. So I am really looking forward to the back shots comparison between him and Nick Walker at the New York Pro. So Tonio Burton was altogether a different animal when he turned around and hit those back shots against Rafael Brandao. He not only made Rafael Brandao look soft, but he made him look narrow as well. That was something really unexpected. So this is gonna be one hell of a show. And if Quentin Beastwood also jumps into the New York Pro, this show is probably gonna be one of the biggest shows in this calendar year. So hit the thumbs up button if you liked the video, and smash the subscribe button if you wanna come back for more. Thanks for watching.